Words have a magical power. They can either bring the greatest happiness or the deepest despair. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. We choose not randomly each other. We meet only those who already exist in our subconscious. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. The only person with whom you have to compare ourselves is that you in the past, and the only person better you should be. This is who you are now. The goal of all life is death. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. We are what we are, because we have been what we have been. In the small matters, trust the mind. In the large ones, the heart. Maturity is the ability to postpone gratification. Not all men are worthy of love. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. The sexual life of adult women is a dark continent for psychology. Time spent with cats is never wasted. There is a powerful force within us, an unilluminated part of the mind, separate from the conscious mind, that is constantly at work molding our thought, feelings, and actions. I've been a fortunate man in life. Nothing has come easily. The only shame in masturbation is the shame of not doing it well. If you want your wife to listen to you, then talk to another woman. She will be all ears. A father's death is the most important event, the more heartbreaking and poignant loss in a man's life. Anxiety in children is originally nothing other than an expression of the fact they are feeling the loss of the person they love. Two hallmarks of a healthy life are the abilities to love and to work. Each requires imagination. The ego is not master in its own house. Writers write for fame, wealth, power, and the love of women. Men are more moral than they think, and far more immoral than they can imagine. When inspiration does not come to me, I go halfway to meet it. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain, playing in the sun, and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises. One is very crazy when in love. Knowledge is the intellectual manipulation of carefully verified observations. Where such men love, they have no desire, and where they desire, they cannot love. When we attempt to imagine death, we perceive ourselves as spectators. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. The behavior of a human being in sexual matters is often a prototype for the whole of his other modes of reaction in life. The only unnatural sexual behavior is none at all. When a man is freed of religion, he has a better chance to live a normal and wholesome life. Sexuality is the key to the problem of the psychoneuroses, and of the neuroses in general. No one who disdains the key will ever be able to unlock the door. Children are completely egoistic. They feel their needs intensely and strive ruthlessly to satisfy them. If you want to endure life, prepare yourself for death. When someone abuses me, I can defend myself, but against praise, I am defenseless. Men are strong, so long as they represent a strong idea. They become powerless when they oppose it. A fear of weapons is a sign of retarded sexual and emotional maturity. The game replaces sexual enjoyment by pleasure and movement. With words, one man can make another blessed, or drive him to despair. The woman who refuses to see her sexual organs as mere wood chips, designed to make the man's life more comfortable, is in danger of becoming a lesbian, an active, phallic woman, an intellectual virago with a fire of her own. The lesbian body is a particularly pernicious and depraved version of the female body in general. It is susceptible to autoeroticism, clitoral pleasure, and self-actualization. We are never so vulnerable as when we love, and never so hopelessly unhappy as when we lose the object of our love. Who lacks sex speaks about sex, hungry talks about food. A person who has no money, about money, and our oligarch and bankers talk about morality. Rather than living our lives, we are lived by unknown and uncontrollable forces. When a love relationship is at its height, there is no room left for any interest in the environment. A pair of lovers are sufficient to themselves. An overwhelming majority of symbols in dreams are sexual symbols. He does not believe that does not live according to his belief. You can always make a lot of people love one another, so long as there are a smaller number outside the group for them to kick. Dreams are never concerned with trivia. They love their delusions as they love themselves. Dreaming, in short, is one of the devices we employ to circumvent repression, one of the main methods of what may be called indirect representation in the mind. Trying to be completely sincere with yourself is a good exercise. Dark, unfeeling, and unloving powers determine human destiny. In matters of sexuality, we are at present, every one of us, ill or well, nothing but hypocrites. Love cannot be much younger than the lust for murder. A man's heterosexuality will not put up with any homosexuality, and vice versa.